Chapter 1. The Frozen Mind. When Thinking Becomes the Enemy. You sit in front of your trading screen. The charts move. The candles flicker. The market breathes. You see opportunity, but you can't move. Your hand hesitates. Your mind races. Thoughts swirl. Maybe wait a little longer. What if this setup fails? What if I lose again? And while you're trapped in thought, the trade happens without you. You watch it move exactly how you imagined, except you're not in it. That's analysis paralysis, the moment when thinking replaces action. You tell yourself you're being careful. You call it patience. But deep down, it's fear. Fear of loss. Fear of failure. Fear of regret. Fear disguised as logic. It convinces you that waiting means control, that more analysis means safety, that hesitation is intelligence. But the truth is, overthinking is not intelligence. It's fear pretending to be wisdom. Every trader faces this at some point. You study the market, you prepare, you plan, and still you freeze. You look for the perfect signal, the perfect confirmation, the perfect timing. But in trading, perfection doesn't exist. The best traders in the world don't move because they know everything. They move because they've accepted that they never will. They trade with incomplete information, and they're okay with that. Because mastery isn't about certainty. It's about calm execution in uncertainty. Think about that. You can have the best system, the best analysis, the cleanest chart, but if your mind is tangled in hesitation, none of it matters. Overthinking kills clarity. It kills instinct. It kills opportunity. The more you think, the less you trust yourself. The less you trust yourself, the more you hesitate. And the more you hesitate, the more you confirm your own fear. It's a loop, and the only way out is awareness. You break the loop by noticing it. When your mind says, wait for confirmation, ask yourself, am I following logic or avoiding fear? When you say, I'll enter when it's safer, remember, the market is never safe. There is no perfect moment. There is only now. Trading isn't about knowing. It's about managing not knowing. And the traders who learn that truth trade with freedom. You don't overcome overthinking by forcing action. You overcome it by building trust in your process, your preparation, your discipline. Trust is built through repetition, through experience, through calm courage. The mind wants to protect you. That's why it overanalyzes. But protection and progress rarely coexist. To grow, you must act in uncertainty. To evolve, you must trade through discomfort. So the next time your finger hovers over the button and that wave of doubt tries to stop you, breathe. Remind yourself that clarity comes from motion, not from thinking. Action builds confidence. Confidence builds calm. And calm execution builds success. When you act, you learn. When you hesitate, you only imagine. The market rewards movement, not mental loops. The frozen mind fears mistakes, but the wise trader knows every mistake is data. Every loss is feedback. Every action refines the edge. You can't think your way to mastery. You must trade your way there. Let go of the illusion of control. Trade with structure. Trade with awareness. But trade. Because the moment you act, even imperfectly, you start to grow. Analysis paralysis ends where trust begins.
Trust in yourself, trust in your preparation, trust in your ability to handle whatever the market brings. Thinking is good, but overthinking? That's hesitation disguised as safety. Don't let fear write your story. You are not a victim of uncertainty. You are a student of it. And every calm, confident decision you make rewires your mind for freedom. This is the first step in mastering emotional control: awareness. Awareness of your mental patterns. Awareness of the fear that hides behind logic. Awareness that waiting for perfect clarity is the same as waiting forever. The trader's mind must move from frozen to flowing, from rigid logic to calm action. Because clarity doesn't come before you act. It comes because you act. And that's where the journey truly begins. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into the illusion that keeps traders trapped in waiting mode. The illusion of certainty. Why perfect information doesn't exist, and why elite traders don't chase it. They trade without it, and that's what sets them free.
Chapter 2. The Illusion of Certainty. Why Perfect Information Doesn't Exist. You've probably heard yourself say it before. I'll enter when it looks clearer. I just need more confirmation. Or, the market's too uncertain right now. And yet, the truth is, it's always uncertain. Every candle, every setup, every trade, it's built on incomplete information. Still, we crave what we can't have: certainty. That craving creates hesitation. It builds the illusion that there exists a perfect moment, a flawless setup, a guaranteed outcome. But that illusion is what traps you. Because while you wait for perfection, the market moves on. Certainty feels safe. Uncertainty feels dangerous. Your brain is wired to avoid danger. It's the same mechanism that once protected our ancestors from wild animals, only now it protects us from the fear of being wrong. But here's the truth. In trading, being wrong is part of being right. Mistakes are information. Losses are tuition. The trader who tries to avoid being wrong ends up avoiding action, and the trader who avoids action never grows. The illusion of certainty is seductive. It whispers, just wait for one more sign. It promises safety in exchange for hesitation. But the market doesn't reward waiting. It rewards decision-making. And decision-making always carries risk. If you wait until everything feels certain, you'll always be too late. By the time the setup looks perfect, the opportunity's gone. Certainty only exists in hindsight. That's why the most successful traders move before it feels comfortable. They act while uncertainty still lingers, not recklessly, but with structured confidence. They don't need perfect information. They trust their preparation. They trade probabilities, not promises. Imagine this. Two traders are looking at the same chart. Both see the same levels, the same indicators, the same pattern forming. The first trader says, "It looks good, but I'll wait for confirmation." The second trader says, "My plan says this is enough. Let's execute." Hours later, the market takes off right in the expected direction. One trader watches from the sidelines. The other rides the move with calm conviction. What separates them isn't knowledge, it's trust. Elite traders know something most people don't. You will never eliminate uncertainty, so they stop trying. Instead, they master probabilistic thinking. They understand that each trade is just one event in a long series of outcomes. A single loss doesn't define them. A single win doesn't validate them. What matters is execution over time, consistent, calm, and disciplined. Their mindset shifts from, "Will this trade win?" to, "Am I following my edge?" That's where power lives, not in prediction, but in process. The human mind hates that. It wants to be right. It wants to know. It wants control. So when you feel uncertainty, your mind starts searching for data, for patterns, for reassurance. But the more you search, the less clear it becomes. You add indicators. You scroll multiple time frames. You ask yourself, maybe if I wait another candle. That's not clarity. That's anxiety disguised as logic. And in that overanalysis, you lose connection with what matters most: your intuition, your plan, your edge. Let's look at the reality of markets. They are not made to be understood completely. They are made to challenge you, emotionally, mentally, and psychologically. Every move contains randomness. Every setup carries doubt. If you demand perfect clarity, you will never act. But if you accept imperfection, you gain freedom. The goal isn't to know what will happen. The goal is to respond to what happens without fear. That's the core of professional trading: detachment from prediction, commitment to process. There's a quote among top traders: "Uncertainty is the price of admission for success." Every trade you take, every click of the button, that's the ticket. You pay it with courage. You pay it with trust. You pay it by accepting that certainty will never come. And once you stop waiting for it, something changes. You feel lighter. You see opportunity instead of risk. You move with calm awareness instead of emotional tension. That's the moment you start trading from power, not fear. Here's a simple truth most won't accept. You don't need to know what the market will do. You only need to know what you will do when it does it. That's process over prediction. That's discipline over emotion. That's professionalism over impulse. Every great trader lives by it. So how do you escape the illusion of certainty? First, define your rules. Decide in advance what conditions justify a trade. And then, when those conditions are met, act. No hesitation, no negotiation. Second, accept imperfection. You will never buy the bottom or sell the top. You will never catch every move, and that's okay. Third, focus on execution, not outcome. Judge yourself by the quality of your process, not by the result of one trade. Because when you focus on outcome, you feed emotion. When you focus on process, you feed discipline. You don't grow by being right. You grow by learning to stay calm when you're uncertain. The traders who master that mindset, they don't just survive the market, they thrive in it. They see uncertainty not as danger, but as opportunity. They understand that randomness creates possibility, and possibility is where profit is born. Remember this: certainty is a comfort illusion. Discipline is the real safety net. If you can learn to act without perfect information, to move calmly when others freeze, you've already won half the battle. The market isn't testing your strategy, it's testing your mind. Every hesitation is a reflection of your need for control. Every act of trust is a step toward mastery. The illusion of certainty fades when you learn to think probabilistically. When you understand that one trade means nothing, but your mindset means everything. When you stop seeking perfection and start trusting your process, you'll find the calm confidence that separates the amateurs from the elite. You'll stop chasing the feeling of safety and start creating it within yourself. That's the trader's evolution, from needing control to mastering control within chaos. And as you take this mindset forward, we step into a deeper layer of this transformation. Because behind the illusion of certainty lies something more powerful: the emotional storm that fuels it. In the next chapter, we'll explore the hidden triggers of overthinking, fear, doubt, and the need for control. We'll uncover how these emotions hijack your decision-making and how to reclaim mental clarity through awareness. This is where psychology meets precision. This is where you begin to truly master yourself. Next, Chapter 3, Fear, Doubt, and Data, the emotional triggers behind overthinking. You open your trading platform. The charts are glowing. Your heart beats just a little faster. Your mind begins to whisper, "What if I lose this one?" You start checking data again. You change time frames. You compare indicators. You scroll through old trades for reassurance. Minutes pass. The setup you saw is still there, but your confidence isn't. That's how it begins. Not with failure, but with fear. Fear, doubt, and the need for control. These are the three invisible weights that drag traders into overthinking. They don't show up as panic or chaos. They hide behind logic. They wear the mask of, "I just need to be sure." But underneath that mask lies emotion. Powerful, subtle, and deeply human. Let's unmask them one by one. Fear of loss. The oldest, strongest emotion in trading. The voice that says, "Don't make a mistake. Don't get hurt again." You felt it after a big loss. That sting, that knot in your chest. You told yourself never again. So now every new opportunity reminds you of that pain. You hesitate not because the setup is bad, but because the memory of loss still lives inside you. The mind replays that pain like a warning siren. It's not trying to sabotage you, it's trying to protect you. But protection and progress rarely walk together. If you listen too closely to that voice, you'll stop acting altogether. You'll wait for certainty that never comes. True growth begins when you make peace with loss. When you see a losing trade not as punishment, but as information, as feedback. Losses aren't a reflection of your worth. They're the tuition you pay for wisdom. Once you see that, fear begins to lose its grip. Doubt. The quiet cousin of fear. It doesn't shout, it whispers. Maybe I'm not ready. Maybe my strategy isn't good enough. Maybe I'm just lucky. Doubt sneaks in through experience. It hides in your analysis, in your constant need to double-check everything. It convinces you that more data will make you confident. But confidence doesn't come from data. It comes from discipline. You can't think your way into belief. You have to act your way into it. Every time you follow your plan, every time you execute calmly, you build trust in yourself. That trust becomes your foundation. Without it, doubt will always find cracks to crawl through. Then comes the third, the need for control. The market is chaos. It doesn't obey your logic or your feelings. It rises and falls, moves fast and slow, and it never explains itself. So you try to control it. You add more indicators. You test more systems. You think, if I can just understand it deeply enough, I'll never lose. But that belief is the trap. The more you try to control the market, the more it controls you. You become reactive. You chase trades. You fear randomness. You try to bend probability into certainty, and it breaks your patience. The truth is, mastery isn't about control. It's about alignment. It's learning to move with the market, not against it. You can't control the waves, but you can control your balance. That's the art of trading calm. When fear, doubt, and control collide, they create a perfect storm. Analysis paralysis. The mind freezes. You lose your rhythm. You mistake overthinking for wisdom. You start believing that more data equals better decisions. But often more data just means more confusion. The great traders don't need to see everything. They only need to see clearly. So how do you break this emotional loop? Step 1. Acknowledge the emotion. Don't fight it. Don't hide from it. Say to yourself, I feel fear right now. Awareness disarms emotion. Step 2. Separate feeling from action. You can feel fear and still act with discipline. You can doubt and still follow your plan. You can't eliminate emotion, but you can decide not to obey it. Step 3, trust your process. The mind craves certainty, but your system is your certainty. Your rules, your edge, your discipline, that's what protects you. The more you rely on structure, the less you'll depend on emotion. And step 4, detach from outcome. Not every trade will work. Not every day will be smooth. But the calm trader knows every decision made with clarity moves them forward. Progress is not in the result, it's in the response. Every trader must confront these emotions. They don't vanish with success. They evolve with awareness. Even elite traders still feel fear, still feel the pull of control, still question themselves at times. But they've learned not to react. They feel the wave and let it pass. They don't fight emotion. They float above it. That's emotional mastery. Not the absence of feeling, but the presence of stillness within feeling. Remember, fear is not your enemy. Doubt is not your enemy. They're signals, reminders of where you still need trust. When fear arises, it's your mind saying, build more belief. When doubt whispers, it's asking, strengthen your discipline. When control tightens, it's telling you, learn to let go. These emotions are teachers. They show you where your growth begins. The goal isn't to eliminate them, it's to understand them so they no longer control you. Imagine trading without that storm inside. You see the same chart, but your mind is quiet. You see a setup form and your body stays calm. No rush, no panic, no endless questions, just clarity. That's not luck. That's emotional training. And that's where we're heading next. In the next chapter, we'll dive deeper into that inner quiet. We'll explore how world-class traders build stillness amid chaos, how they breathe through volatility, how they detach from outcomes and reconnect to presence. Because once you understand your emotions, the next step is to master your state. And that begins with the calm trader's mind.
The market opens. The charts explode with color, green, red, flickering across the screen like lightning. Your heart quickens, your breath shortens, your mind begins to race. Every candle feels personal. Every movement feels like a test of your control. You tell yourself, stay calm. But the numbers won't stop moving. And somewhere between the flashing ticks and your own heartbeat, you lose your stillness. This is the battlefield of trading, not the market, but the mind. The charts don't cause stress, your reaction to them does. The movement isn't chaos, your attachment to it is. To master trading, you must master stillness. Not the kind of stillness that comes from doing nothing, but the kind that comes from deep awareness. A state of mind that moves slowly, even when everything else moves fast. Let's begin with the breath. Close your eyes if you can. Inhale deeply through your nose. Feel the air fill your chest, slowly, completely. Exhale gently through your mouth. Do it again. Inhale, hold it for a moment. Exhale. As your body softens, notice how your thoughts begin to slow. That is your anchor, your breath. Every time the market pulls you into panic or excitement, come back to it. World-class traders use this exact practice. They breathe to reset their focus. They know that emotional control begins in the body, not the charts. When your breathing is calm, your decisions are clear. When your breath is chaotic, your trades usually follow. Now, visualize this. You are standing in the center of a storm. Wind, rain, thunder all around you, but inside your mind, there's stillness. A quiet room that no noise can reach. That's the trader's sanctuary. The market can move violently. Price can spike, news can shock, charts can break patterns. But your inner room remains undisturbed. This isn't denial, it's discipline. The art of emotional detachment. You don't ignore the storm. You observe it. You measure it. You let it pass.
Most traders chase calm through control. They try to control every outcome, every trade, every tick. But control is an illusion. The more you try to force calm through control, the more anxious you become. True calm is not control. It's acceptance. It's saying, I don't know what happens next, but I trust myself to handle it. That single thought transforms your entire trading experience. The calm trader doesn't react to every flicker of price. They respond with purpose. They don't need to be right. They need to be balanced. They don't chase the market. They let the market come to them. This is the difference between an emotional trader and a professional one. One is a passenger in the storm. The other is the captain of their ship. Stillness is not about silence. It's about clarity. When your mind is calm, you hear what others can't. The rhythm of the market beneath the noise. You notice how the candles breathe, how volume shifts, how momentum fades or builds. You become a listener, not a gambler, a student of the flow, not a slave to the outcome. And in that listening, opportunities reveal themselves effortlessly. Let's talk about detachment. Detachment is not carelessness. It's focus without fear. It's engagement without emotional debt. You take the trade, but you don't tie your self-worth to it. You win and you move on. You lose and you move on. Because in the long run, your mindset matters more than any single outcome. The calm trader knows this. They don't measure progress in profits. They measure it in presence. How calm were you today when the chart went against you? How focused were you when volatility hit? That's your real growth metric. The still mind is like water. When it's stirred, it distorts the reflection. When it's calm, it mirrors reality perfectly. You can't see the truth of the market if your mind is turbulent. Emotional waves blur your vision, make you see danger where there is no danger, or opportunity where there is only noise. But when your mind is still, you see clearly. You see the market as it is, not as your fear or greed wants it to be. That's emotional mastery in its purest form. So how can you build this calm daily? Start simple. Before every session, take 2 minutes of silence. Breathe deeply. Feel your body settle into your chair. Let your thoughts slow until you're fully present. Remind yourself, I am here to follow process, not emotion. During trading, notice your body. Tension in your shoulders, tightness in your chest. These are signals. They're not random. They're your body's way of saying you're losing presence. When you catch it, breathe again. Recenter. Return to the room of stillness inside you. And when the session ends, detach. Step away from the screen. Don't replay every candle in your head. Let your mind reset before the next day. Calm isn't something you achieve once, it's something you practice daily. In truth, emotional stillness is your ultimate trading edge. Because anyone can learn a strategy. Anyone can copy an indicator. But few can master themselves. When your mind is still, you don't chase, you attract. You don't react, you respond. You don't force trades, you flow with them. And in that flow, your decisions become effortless. You trade from intuition supported by structure. You move with confidence born from calm. That's what separates those who survive the markets from those who thrive within them. As you continue this journey, remember this. The market doesn't demand perfection from you. It demands presence. When you can stay calm amid chaos, you've already won the inner game. The profits, they're just reflections of that mastery. Stillness is your superpower, and once you own it, nothing in the market can shake you again. In the next chapter, we'll take this calm energy and channel it into structure, because stillness without clarity can become complacency. To trade freely, your mind needs simplicity, a clear, repeatable decision framework. We'll explore how simplicity beats complexity, how rules create freedom, and how a defined process silences hesitation once and for all. It's time to simplify, to act, and to turn stillness into strategy. Next, Chapter 5. Simplify or Suffer, Creating a Decision Framework that Frees You. The more you trade, the more you realize. Complexity doesn't make you smarter. It makes you slower, heavier, confused. Every new indicator feels like a secret weapon. Every tweak in your system feels like evolution. But before long, your screen looks like a battlefield. Lines, colors, signals everywhere. And your mind mirrors that same chaos. This is the silent suffering of traders. The illusion that more data equals more control. But the truth is simpler. The more variables you add, the more emotions you invite. Simplicity is not weakness. It's precision. It's not the absence of intelligence. It's the highest expression of it. Because when your system is simple, your mind is free. Free to think clearly. Free to act decisively. Free to trust yourself. Imagine two traders. The first has 12 indicators, 3 monitors, and a spreadsheet full of rules. He hesitates before every trade, constantly adjusting, always seeking the perfect confirmation. The second has one setup, a single process. He knows what he's looking for, and when he sees it, he acts. Who do you think wins over time? The first trader believes knowledge will save him. The second trader understands that clarity will. Simplicity creates consistency, and consistency is the foundation of mastery. When you simplify, you remove noise. You strip away anything that doesn't serve your edge. Your system becomes a mirror, reflecting your discipline, not your doubt. The question isn't, how can I add more? It's, what can I remove? Every unnecessary variable is a weight on your decision-making. Every layer of analysis adds friction to your execution. Simplicity cuts through that fog. Here's the truth many traders avoid. Complexity is emotional comfort disguised as logic. You add indicators to feel safer. You wait for more confirmation because you fear being wrong. You analyze endlessly because you don't trust your ability to act. But the cost of this comfort is opportunity. You trade late. You doubt your own setups. You miss clarity in the name of control. Simplicity requires courage because it forces you to face uncertainty head-on. No filters, no excuses, just you and your process. So how do you build a decision framework that frees you? Let's break it down into 3 simple principles. 1. Define your structure. You need a framework, not a guess, not a hope, a structure. Decide when you trade, what you trade, and how you trade. Your criteria should be clear enough that a stranger could follow them. What defines your entry? What invalidates your setup? What confirms your conviction? Write it down, because written structure turns chaos into clarity. 2. Limit your choices. Every choice is a mental tax, and in trading, too many choices create fatigue. When your rules are simple, you act faster. You reduce hesitation. You remove the endless what-if cycle. You're not here to analyze everything. You're here to execute your plan. If your process can't fit on one page, it's too complicated. Simplify it until it feels almost boring. That's the point where clarity begins. 3. Create permission to act. This is where traders struggle most. Even with a plan, fear interrupts execution. So build what I call permission triggers. These are predefined rules that give you psychological clearance to act. For example, If my setup aligns with my criteria, I take it, no matter how I feel. That single rule removes emotion from the equation. It transfers control from your feelings to your framework. Your job isn't to predict. Your job is to follow process. When your process gives you permission to act, you trade without guilt, without hesitation. You become free. Simplicity also applies to how you review your trades. After each session, don't drown yourself in data. Look at 3 things only. Did I follow my rules? Was my emotional state balanced? And what will I adjust tomorrow? That's it. You don't need to dissect every tick to learn. You just need to identify behavior patterns, yours, not the market's, because your behavior shapes your results more than any chart ever will. Now, let's talk about the emotional side of simplicity. When your framework is clear, your mind is quiet. You stop arguing with yourself mid-trade. You stop second-guessing every decision. You gain space, mental and emotional. That space is where confidence lives. Most traders think confidence comes from winning trades. It doesn't. It comes from trusting your process. Because once you trust your process, you don't need constant reassurance. You don't need the market to validate you. You act, you observe, you adjust. That's it. You don't need to know everything. You just need to execute what you know well. Remember this: simplicity doesn't limit you. It liberates you. When your trading system is simple, you free yourself from overthinking. You move from reacting to responding, from chasing to choosing, from emotion to execution. The market rewards clarity, not complexity. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, don't ask, "What's missing?" Ask, "What can I remove?" Because every unnecessary decision is one step away from focus. A calm trader, equipped with a simple system, is infinitely more powerful than a frantic trader with 1,000 tools. The calm trader knows exactly what to do, when to do it, and when to walk away. That's freedom, not from the market, but from your own mental noise. And when you reach that level of simplicity, you realize something profound. The less you force, the more things flow. The less you analyze, the more you understand. The less you control, the more consistent you become. That's the paradox of mastery. Simplicity creates power. In your next trading session, watch yourself. Every time you hesitate, ask, am I hesitating because my system isn't clear, or because my emotions are clouding it? Most of the time, the answer is both, which means clarity in your system will bring calm to your emotions. That's the hidden connection between structure and stillness. As we move forward, remember this: your goal isn't to eliminate uncertainty. It's to build a process that stays stable within uncertainty. Simplicity doesn't fight chaos. It organizes it. It turns noise into rhythm, and rhythm into opportunity. In the next chapter, we'll take this structure and elevate it further. Because once your system is built, you'll face a new challenge: trusting it. Trusting your process when fear whispers, when doubt rises, when outcomes shake your confidence. We'll explore how to shift from chaos to clarity, how to trade with conviction even when the market tests you, and how to let discipline speak louder than emotion.
The market opens. Candles flash. Momentum builds. You feel the pulse of uncertainty. Every second feels alive. Your mind starts to whisper. What if it reverses? What if I'm wrong again? What if this is the one that breaks me? This is where traders are made or broken. Not in the charts, not in the strategy, but in the space between fear and trust. Chaos is the natural language of the market. It will always move in ways you can't predict. But clarity, that comes from within. When you trust your process, you stop fighting chaos. You begin to flow with it. The difference between a reactive trader and a confident one isn't more knowledge, it's trust. Trust built on repetition, on discipline, on learning that every trade is a single moment in a much larger journey. Many traders say they have a plan, but few actually trust it. They build systems, they backtest, they prepare, but the second a loss appears, they question everything. They tweak, they adjust, they abandon what worked yesterday because of one emotional moment today. That's not evolution. That's fear disguised as logic. Trust means sticking with your process through noise. It means allowing short-term chaos to unfold without letting it rewrite your long-term clarity. You don't build trust overnight. You build it through consistency. You earn it by showing up again and again, even when fear screams louder than reason. Think about how pilots train. They don't learn how to avoid turbulence. They learn how to fly through it. They trust their instruments more than their emotions. That's exactly what a trader must do. Your process is your cockpit. Your rules, your structure, your preparation, these are your instruments. They keep you aligned when your emotions try to pull you off course. Here's a truth that changes everything. You don't need to remove fear to trade well. You need to act despite it. Fear doesn't disappear. It gets quieter as trust gets stronger. Each time you follow your process, you send a signal to your subconscious. I can handle this. I can trust my own system. And that trust compounds, slowly, silently, but powerfully. So how do you transform hesitation into confident execution? There are 3 principles that guide every calm, consistent trader. 1. Focus on habits, not outcomes. Every trade is just data. Every result is just feedback. Winning or losing doesn't define you. How you execute does. When you focus on habits, the pressure disappears. You no longer need every trade to be perfect. You just need every trade to be disciplined. Your job isn't to win today. Your job is to execute your plan flawlessly. The results will follow on their own. Shift from emotion to structure. When chaos rises, emotion takes over. You start reacting, not responding. To break that pattern, anchor yourself in structure. Before each session, review your checklist. Remind yourself, what am I here to do today? What setups am I allowed to take? When will I stop trading? Structure isn't a cage. It's a compass. It points you toward logic when emotions blur your vision. And when the market feels wild, your structure reminds you, I've already decided how to act in moments like this. Build post-trade trust. Most traders lose confidence not because of bad results, but because of emotional reactions after the results. You take a loss and suddenly you doubt your system. You win big and suddenly you feel invincible. Both are dangerous. Trust is built by staying emotionally neutral, by reviewing your trades through logic, not ego. After each session, ask yourself, did I follow my plan? Was my mindset calm? What did I learn about myself today? That's how you grow, not by chasing perfection, but by nurturing consistency. Trusting your process also means releasing control of the outcome. You can't control what the market does, but you can control how you show up. When you release the need to predict, you gain the power to adapt. When you release the fear of losing, you open the space to learn. When you release your attachment to results, you begin to evolve. Because true control isn't about forcing the market. It's about mastering your response to it. Imagine this. A candle spikes suddenly against your trade. Adrenaline hits. Your heart races. You want to close early, to protect yourself. But then, you take a breath. You remember your stop loss is already set. Your risk is defined. Your system is intact. That moment, right there, is where traders are made or broken. The fearful mind says, close now. The disciplined mind says, trust the process. When you trust, you don't need to control everything. You've already built your safety net through preparation. That's where calm lives, not in the absence of uncertainty, but in the presence of structure. Think of trading like building a bridge across chaos. Every brick is a small, consistent act of trust. Each one supports the next, until you look back and realize you've crossed an entire storm without breaking. That's what long-term confidence feels like. It's not loud, it's steady. It's quiet power built from inner clarity. Here's the paradox most traders miss. The more you try to control the market, the more chaotic it feels. The more you surrender to your structure, the calmer it becomes. Because the moment you trust your process, chaos stops being a threat and becomes your environment, the water you swim in, not the wave that drowns you. If you want to master this level of calm execution, start each trading day with one grounding question. Do I trust my process enough to let go of fear today? Not perfectly, not completely, just enough to take the next trade with clarity. Because that's what builds momentum, one calm decision at a time. Every trade is an opportunity to strengthen trust. Every hesitation is a signal to return to structure. Every fear is an invitation to grow stronger than yesterday. The journey from chaos to clarity isn't about finding certainty. It's about creating inner stability, no matter how uncertain the market becomes. It's about realizing that calm isn't something you wait for. It's something you build. Decision by decision, habit by habit, trade by trade. And once you've built that trust, something beautiful happens. The noise fades. The hesitation dissolves. You stop thinking your trades and start feeling them, not from emotion, but from deep alignment. That is the threshold of mastery, the point where logic and intuition begin to work together, the beginning of what traders call the flow state. In the next chapter, we'll step into that space, the mental zone where the mind quiets, the body aligns, and trading becomes effortless. We'll explore the psychology behind flow state trading, how world-class performers enter it, and how you can train your mind to do the same. Because once trust becomes your foundation, flow becomes your natural state. Next, chapter Flow State Trading, the power of focused presence.
You've heard of it before, the zone. That state where everything clicks. Time slows. The market moves and you move with it, effortlessly. Every decision feels clear, natural, precise. This is the flow state. And when a trader enters it, they're not reacting, they're responding. They're not forcing the trade, they're aligned with it. But here's the truth. Flow doesn't just happen. It's earned. It's built through discipline, trust, and focus. Through countless hours of preparation that allow your mind to finally let go of control and simply be present. Flow is the marriage of logic and intuition.
A state where emotion exists but doesn't interfere, where structure guides you but instinct moves you. Every elite trader knows this feeling. It's the moment when the charts almost speak to you, when your analysis blends seamlessly with your intuition. There's no fear, no second guessing, no desperate need to predict. Only rhythm, only awareness, only presence. You're no longer a person trying to control the market. You're a participant in its rhythm. You're not chasing opportunity. You're allowing it to reveal itself. So how do you reach that state? How do you enter flow on command? It begins with one powerful shift, moving your attention from thinking to experiencing. When you trade, your mind loves to jump ahead. What if I lose? What if I miss it? What if this goes wrong? But flow begins when you release the future and fully anchor yourself in the now. Right here, right now. Just you, your chart, and your next decision. There are three pillars that form the foundation of trading flow: focus, rhythm, and detachment. Let's explore each one. 1. Focus, the art of full attention. Distraction is the enemy of flow. Every alert, every news headline, every open browser tab, they fragment your attention. And fragmented attention can't create clarity. Before each session, build a ritual that centers your focus. Silence the noise. Close everything that isn't part of your trading. Breathe deeply, slow your thoughts, and visualize yourself trading with calm precision. This ritual doesn't just prepare your mind, it signals your brain. It's time to enter the zone. When your environment is simple, your mind becomes sharp. 2. Rhythm, the dance between structure and intuition. Flow isn't random, it's rhythmic. It's the balance between order and freedom. Think of jazz musicians. They improvise, but within structure. Their freedom only exists because they've mastered the rules. Trading works the same way. Your process gives you the rhythm. Your intuition adds the music. Once your framework is built, you stop consciously thinking about every move. You simply follow the rhythm you've trained for. That's where intuition awakens, not as a wild impulse, but a refined awareness born from repetition. 3. Detachment, the freedom to flow without fear. This is the hardest and the most important. Flow dies the moment you attach to outcomes. When your mind starts calculating profit or fearing loss, you leave the present moment and enter chaos. To stay in flow, you must detach from results. Your focus is not on winning or losing, it's on executing with clarity. When you detach from the outcome, your mind relaxes. You stop grasping for control. You trade from observation, not emotion. And ironically, that's when you perform your best. Let's walk through an example. You see your setup forming. You've planned this pattern 100 times. Your rules align. You take the trade, no hesitation. As the market moves, your heart rate stays steady. You're aware but calm. You're not reacting to every candle. You're reading the story one line at a time. Minutes later, you close your trade. Win or lose, you feel the same. Centered, present, composed. That is flow. Effortless action guided by clarity. Now, achieving this state consistently takes practice, but it starts with one simple habit: presence. When you're trading, trade. When you're analyzing, analyze. When you're reviewing, review. Don't mix them. Flow collapses when your mind multitasks. You can't analyze and execute at the same time. You can't plan and panic simultaneously. Each moment has its purpose. Stay with that moment, fully. That's how focus turns into flow. Here's something most traders don't realize. Flow doesn't feel intense. It feels calm, like quiet certainty. You're not trying harder. You're simply aligned. Your breathing slows. Your thoughts quiet down. Your actions feel lighter. That's why flow trading looks effortless from the outside, because the trader isn't fighting their mind anymore. They've surrendered to the moment, and that surrender creates precision. To train your brain for flow, practice this before every session. Sit still for 1 minute. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Visualize clarity. See yourself trading with focus. See your charts clean. See your actions smooth and decisive. Set one intention, not to make money, not to avoid losses, but to stay fully present. That's your only goal, presence. Because when presence deepens, profits follow naturally. Over time, your brain begins to associate trading with calm focus. Your nervous system adapts. You enter flow faster. You stay there longer. Eventually, it becomes automatic. You sit down to trade, and your mind instantly settles. You're not chasing control anymore. You're allowing clarity. But even flow requires balance, because if you cling to it, if you try to force flow, you lose it. Flow thrives in surrender, in trust, in letting go of control and simply doing what you've trained to do. That's why elite traders spend years mastering their routine, so that when they step into the market, their body and mind know exactly what to do. They don't think their way into flow, they breathe their way into it. You may not enter flow every day, and that's okay. The goal isn't perfection, it's consistency. Every moment you stay present is training. Every trade executed calmly is progress. Every small win against distraction is growth. This is how mastery builds, quietly, day by day. Flow isn't the end of the journey. It's a stage, a higher frequency of focus that you learn to sustain. But even in flow, you must remember there's a time to act and a time to let go. The same presence that brings you success in trading must also teach you how to step away. Because if you can't detach from the screen, you're not free, you're trapped in your own flow. In the next chapter, we'll explore the other side of mastery, the discipline of letting go. How to stop overanalyzing, how to trust your preparation and walk away in peace, how to live your life fully without letting the charts define your worth. Because trading mastery isn't about always being in control. It's about knowing when to release control and simply live. Next, chapter, the discipline of letting go, when to stop analyzing and start living.
There's a moment every trader faces. The charts are off, the trades are done, the day is over. And yet, the mind won't stop. It replays the entries, the exits, the missed signals. It reanalyzes every what if, every tick that moved against you. You scroll back through data as if somewhere in the noise lies the secret, the one that will finally bring peace. But here's the truth. Peace doesn't come from more analysis. It comes from acceptance. The discipline of letting go is not about giving up. It's about releasing what no longer serves your clarity. Because overthinking doesn't protect you, it traps you. It keeps your energy tied to the past and your focus away from the only thing that truly matters, the present moment. The best traders don't carry yesterday into today. They've trained themselves to release attachment. A loss, a win, a missed move. It's all data, nothing more. They understand that control is an illusion. The market doesn't bend to their will. So instead of forcing outcomes, they flow with uncertainty. they trust their preparation, and they let go. Imagine this. You've just finished a losing day. You did everything right, followed your rules, managed your risk, but the trades just didn't work. Your mind starts spinning, like, maybe I missed something. Maybe I should change my system. Maybe I'm not good enough. That's the spiral of mental exhaustion. And it happens because you're fighting reality. The reality that not every trade works, that even perfect execution can lose, that uncertainty is part of the game. Letting go means choosing not to fight that truth. It means standing still in the storm and allowing the market to be what it is. That's discipline. That's mastery. Think about it this way. When you hold your breath, you can't breathe in more air. When you cling to outcomes, you can't receive new insight. Letting go is the exhale of trading. It's what clears the mental fog. It's what resets your energy for the next move. Without it, your mind becomes cluttered, always analyzing, never resting. And a restless mind can't see clearly. There's a quiet strength in detachment. It's not indifference, it's wisdom. You don't stop caring about the result. You simply stop needing it to validate you. When you let go, you trade with freedom. You make decisions without fear. You walk away without regret. And that freedom is where clarity lives. Here's something few traders talk about. The most powerful trades often come after you've released the need to win. When you stop overanalyzing, you open space for instinct to guide you. Your mind relaxes. You see patterns others miss, not because you're trying harder, but because you're finally present. That's the paradox of control. You gain it the moment you stop chasing it. There are 3 core disciplines that make letting go not just possible, but natural. 1. Trust your preparation. 2. Accept uncertainty. 3. Move forward with faith. Let's go deeper. 1. Trust your preparation. Most overthinking comes from self-doubt. You question your system, your analysis, your worth. But if you've done the work, if you've studied, back-tested, refined your edge, then at some point you must let your preparation do the work for you. Your trading plan is your parachute. Once you've packed it carefully, you don't keep opening it mid-air to check if it works. You jump, you trust, you let it open when it's time. That's how trading works. Preparation first, trust second. Overanalysis breaks that trust. 2. Accept uncertainty. You can't predict the market. You can only prepare for its possibilities. Every trade is a conversation with chaos. But when you stop demanding certainty, you start listening instead of reacting. Acceptance doesn't mean you like losing. It means you understand it's part of the balance. Uncertainty is not your enemy. It's your teacher. When you accept it, fear loses its power. You stop needing to know, and you start being ready for anything. 3. Move forward with faith. Letting go isn't just mental. It's emotional. It's a choice to believe that progress happens even when you can't see it. When a seed is planted, you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You water it, you trust the process, and you allow time to do its work. Trading works the same way. Every disciplined decision plants a seed. Every calm exit strengthens your roots. Every moment you release attachment builds inner strength. Faith isn't blind hope. It's consistent action guided by trust. Letting go is not passive. It's active awareness. It's the conscious decision to stop the spiral and return to presence. When your mind starts replaying the day, say to yourself, "I've done my part. The rest is out of my hands." Then close the chart. Stand up. Step outside. Feel the world beyond the market, the sound of wind, the rhythm of life, the simple beauty of being here. Because that's the part many traders forget. You're not just building wealth, you're building yourself. And the more you hold on to peace outside the charts, the more peace you'll bring into them. Letting go also means forgiving yourself for the times you broke your rules, for the trades you forced, for the fear that got in your way. Forgiveness resets your internal dialogue. It tells your mind, it's okay to begin again. You don't need to fix the past. You only need to carry forward the lesson. That's how resilience is built, not by perfection, but by renewal. And remember, letting go doesn't mean you stop learning. It means you stop obsessing. Learn, reflect, improve, then release it. Don't stay trapped in constant self-critique. Mastery isn't born from endless analysis. It's born from balanced reflection. You analyze to understand. You release to grow. That's the rhythm of sustainable progress. At some point, you must make peace with uncertainty, not by knowing more, but by trusting more. When you stop trying to control every outcome, you free your energy to execute with clarity. Your mind quiets, your intuition sharpens, and in that stillness, you find strength. Letting go isn't the end of control. It's the beginning of freedom. So tonight, when you step away from the screen, remind yourself, you don't need to carry the market with you. You've done the work. You've played your part. Now, let the world move without your interference. Breathe. Live. Reconnect with the calm that built your discipline in the first place. Because true mastery isn't about constant control. It's about effortless release. As we move into the next chapter, you'll learn how to reset the emotional patterns that keep you stuck in overanalysis and hesitation. We'll go deeper into the science of emotional rewiring, the psychology of calm execution, and the daily mental rituals that transform hesitation into decisiveness. Prepare for a full mental reset, a clean slate for your trading mind. Next chapter, the emotional reset, reprogramming your mind for calm execution.
There comes a point in every trader's journey when knowledge alone is no longer enough. You've read the books, you've studied the charts, you've built the plan. And yet, when it's time to act, something inside you hesitates. That hesitation is not lack of skill, it's emotional resistance. A deep wiring in your mind that says, wait, don't risk it, stay safe. But safety in trading isn't found in hesitation, it's found in control. And control begins with one thing: emotional reset. Right now, take a breath. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Let the noise of the day begin to fade. The charts, the numbers, the constant analysis. All of it can wait. This chapter is not about more thinking. It's about reprogramming. Because the difference between a reactive trader and a calm, confident one isn't found in their strategy. It's found in their state of mind. Think of your mind like software. Every fear, every hesitation, every doubt, it's just old code running in the background. Code written by past losses, by perfectionism, by the voice that whispers, "What if you're wrong?" But here's the truth. That voice doesn't predict the future. It only repeats the past.
And today, right now, you're going to overwrite that code. Let's begin with the foundation of rewiring, awareness. When you notice hesitation, don't fight it. Observe it. Say to yourself, this is just a signal, not a truth. You don't need to eliminate fear. You need to separate from it. Fear is information, not identity. It tells you where you lack trust, where uncertainty still controls you. Once you recognize that, you regain the power to respond instead of react. Now, let's reframe the emotional loop that traps most traders. It starts with fear of loss, then comes self-doubt, then the endless cycle of analysis and hesitation. The mind keeps scanning for perfect certainty, but certainty doesn't exist. So the loop continues, over and over, until you decide to break it. How? By replacing fear-driven questions with power-driven questions. Instead of asking, what if I lose? Ask, what if I've already prepared for this? Instead of asking, what if I'm wrong? Ask, what will I learn if I am? Reframing transforms emotion into insight. It changes panic into perspective. It's the first step of emotional mastery. Let's go deeper. There are 3 powerful tools that elite traders use to emotionally reset themselves. 1. Cognitive reframing, changing how you interpret fear. 2. Grounding through breath and body awareness. And 3. Affirmations that anchor your identity as a calm decision maker. Let's walk through each, not as concepts, but as lived experiences. 1. Cognitive reframing, changing the story. Every time you feel doubt before a trade, you're telling yourself a story. I always mess up. I should wait for more confirmation. I can't afford another loss. These stories sound like logic, but they're just emotional protection. Reframing means changing the tone of the story. It's not denial, it's redirection. Say to yourself, I'm not predicting, I'm executing. I don't control outcomes, I control decisions. I don't need perfect timing, I need consistent discipline. You're not removing emotion, you're repurposing it. Fear becomes focus. Doubt becomes discipline. Hesitation becomes awareness. Now, grounding, returning to the body. When emotion takes over, the body tightens, your breathing shortens, your hands grip the mouse a little too firmly. That's your nervous system saying, I don't feel safe. You can't think your way out of that state. You have to breathe your way out of it. So right now, breathe in deeply through your nose. Hold. Exhale slowly through your mouth. Feel the tension leave your shoulders. Your body is the anchor for your mind. Before you trade, ground yourself in stillness. Feel your feet on the floor. Notice your heartbeat. Become fully present. Because presence is the opposite of panic. Now, affirmations, rewiring identity. Affirmations aren't wishful thinking, they're emotional reprogramming. You're teaching your subconscious what kind of trader you choose to be. Repeat after me, quietly or aloud. I am calm in uncertainty. I act with clarity, not emotion. I trust my process, not my fears. Every trade, win or lose, builds my experience. I trade what I see, not what I feel. Say them until they feel natural. Say them until hesitation no longer feels safe. Because growth now feels safer than fear. Affirmations are your daily software update. They don't change the market, they change you. Now, let's talk about emotional memory. Your brain remembers emotion more vividly than fact. That's why one painful loss can shape how you trade for months. But the same mechanism can be used to your advantage. By intentionally creating calm emotional experiences around trading, you can overwrite fear-based memory with confidence-based memory. Here's how. Before entering a trade, visualize the process, not the outcome. Imagine your breathing steady, your mind clear, your hand clicking with purpose. See yourself following your plan exactly, regardless of result. The more you do this, the more your brain associates trading with calm execution, not stress or panic. That's emotional conditioning, and it's one of the most powerful forms of rewiring. Understand this. You don't need to remove all emotion to trade well. You need to reshape it. Fear becomes alertness. Excitement becomes focus. Regret becomes reflection. When emotion stops controlling your action and starts guiding your awareness, you've achieved emotional maturity. And that maturity is what separates professionals from amateurs. Here's a truth that might surprise you. The most emotionally disciplined traders still feel everything you do. They just interpret it differently. They still feel fear. They still feel pressure, but they don't obey those feelings. They acknowledge them, breathe through them, and then act on logic. That's the mindset of calm execution. You're not suppressing emotion, you're mastering it. So let's create your emotional reset ritual. Something simple, something powerful, something you can do every session. Step 1. Sit still for 30 seconds. Eyes open. Focus on your breath. Step 2. Repeat your chosen affirmations. I am calm in uncertainty. I act with clarity. I trust my preparation. Step 3. Visualize the first trade of your day. See yourself executing smoothly, exiting cleanly, accepting the result with calm confidence. Step 4. Smile, even slightly. It tells your nervous system, I'm safe, I'm in control. That's it. Simple, consistent, effective. Over time, this ritual rewires your default state from tension to trust. You won't need to force discipline anymore. It will feel natural. And when the inevitable losing streak happens, because it will, don't reset your system. Reset your state. Losses test your identity, not your method. Ask yourself, am I reacting to fear or responding from clarity? That single question will save you from countless impulsive trades. The emotional reset isn't a one-time event. It's a lifestyle, a way of thinking, a daily recommitment to calm execution. When your environment becomes noisy, you stay centered. When the market becomes unpredictable, you stay disciplined. When emotion rises, you rise above it. That's how traders evolve. Not by fighting their feelings, but by flowing through them. Because in the end, the calm trader doesn't have fewer emotions, they have stronger awareness. They know when to breathe, when to wait, when to act, and most importantly, when to let go. The more you practice emotional resetting, the faster your recovery after setbacks, the faster your clarity returns, and the more naturally your decisions align with your preparation, not your panic.
That's what separates those who merely trade from those who truly master the craft. As we move into the final chapter, remember this. Resetting isn't about erasing the past. It's about reclaiming your future. You're not broken. You're being rewired. You're learning to lead your mind, not be led by it. And as you carry this calm awareness into every trade, you'll begin to notice. Your decisions will feel lighter, your reactions slower, your confidence deeper. You'll move from hesitation to flow, from chaos to control, from analysis paralysis to emotional freedom. Get ready, because next, we bring everything together: the mindset, the focus, the calm, the discipline, and we turn it into momentum.
Final chapter. Your next move. From paralysis to power. You've made it here. Through fear, through hesitation, through the noise that clouds the minds of most traders. You've faced yourself, your doubt, your overthinking, your need for control. You've learned that mastery isn't found in knowing more, but in feeling less fear. And now, this is the moment everything changes. Because transformation doesn't begin with knowledge, it begins with motion. Think back to the first time you opened a chart. You didn't know what you were looking at, just waves of color and flickers of price. But something inside you was drawn to it. That blend of chaos and rhythm, risk and reward, logic and emotion. It wasn't just about money. It was about meaning. You wanted to master something bigger than the market. You wanted to master yourself. That's the real journey of a trader. Not chasing profit, but pursuing clarity. And yet, somewhere along the way, analysis took over. You began to believe that the more you thought, the safer you'd become. But safety isn't in hesitation. Safety is in structure, in process, in emotional control. Because hesitation is just fear disguised as logic. It gives the illusion of safety while quietly stealing your momentum. So today, as this audiobook closes, I want to leave you with one truth. You don't need more time. You need more trust. Trust in your preparation. Trust in your intuition. Trust in your ability to adapt, learn, and recover. Trading isn't a race for perfection. It's a lifelong rhythm of growth. Every decision you make, every loss, every gain, every lesson is shaping the trader you are becoming. And that future trader, they're already inside you, waiting for permission to act. Let's talk about that word, act. Action is the bridge between fear and freedom. It's the single difference between the trader who dreams and the trader who does. You can read, study, analyze, but until you move, your potential remains asleep. And you've spent enough time dreaming. Now it's time to move. Because clarity doesn't come before action, it comes from action. Every click, every execution, every small step forward creates new data, new lessons, new confidence. The mind learns by doing. The spirit grows by daring. So ask yourself right now, what is your next move? Not next week, not after you've read another book, right now. Will you simplify your system? Will you start journaling with honesty? Will you take that first trade that aligns with your rules, even if your fear says wait? Because this, right now, is the moment when motion becomes power. Let's be honest, the path won't be perfect. You'll lose. You'll doubt. You'll question everything you've learned. But those moments, they're not signs of weakness. They're the tests that reveal your discipline. The goal isn't to never fall. It's to rise faster each time you do. And with every reset, you'll notice something subtle happening inside you. The emotions that once overwhelmed you start to quiet down. The fear that once froze you starts to fade. And the trader who once chased control begins to embody it. That's what evolution feels like. Uncomfortable at first, unstoppable with time. Now close your eyes for a moment. Picture yourself 6 months from now. You're sitting at your desk. The market is open.
Your breathing is calm. Your plan is clear. You see a setup form, a familiar pattern, one you've prepared for. The old you would hesitate, recheck the data, second-guess the timing. But the new you just acts. Click. Executed. And no matter the outcome, you feel calm. Because you didn't trade for validation. You traded for alignment. You traded from power. That is the essence of calm execution. That is freedom. Remember this truth. Freedom in trading is not built from control of the market. It's built from control of yourself. When you master your reactions, the market loses its power over you. You no longer chase setups, you wait for them. You no longer hope for outcomes, you manage them. You become steady, unmoved by noise, unshaken by volatility. That's what it means to trade calm, trade smart, and trade free. Now, before we close, I want to leave you with a set of affirmations. Your emotional armor for every trading day ahead. Repeat them with intention. Let them sink deeper than thought, into belief. I act with clarity, not emotion. I follow my system with discipline. I trust my preparation. I am patient in chaos and calm in uncertainty. I let go of what I can't control. I grow stronger with every trade. I am a trader, not of markets, but of mindset. Let those words echo in your mind as you step forward into your next session, your next decision, your next evolution. Because the journey doesn't end here. It begins again with greater awareness, deeper control, and a calmer heart. The antidote to analysis paralysis was never about knowing more. It was about remembering who you are when the noise fades. A trader who acts with purpose, not panic. You've built awareness. You've trained your emotions. You've reconnected with discipline. Now, it's time to step into your power. If this journey has helped you grow, if it's reminded you that trading is as much a mental game as it is a technical one, stay connected. Because growth doesn't stop with one audiobook. It continues every day you choose to master your mind before your market. Subscribe to Psych Rich and keep walking this path of calm, clarity, and consistency. Together, we'll keep rewiring the trader's mind, turning chaos into control and emotion into mastery. Your next move begins now. Not tomorrow, not when it feels perfect, now. Trade calm, trade smart, trade free. This is your evolution. This is your power. This is your next move.